I'm back in the garage. It is 2 days since I last worked on this bike, and the reason I'm here is because the part I found on eBay to replace this repaired one has arrived, and at first glances it looks to be in pretty good condition. There is signs of wear on top, as you can see, and they are, well, quite substantial. You can see it on the left hand side where the chain seems to have a habit to run to the left rather than to the right. So where the chain first meets the guide, it's quite worn. The other end, however, there's hardly any wear at all. So you can see this is where the brunt of the wear happens, at the back end of the block. The repaired one looks pretty ugly, but the wear pattern on it is substantially less than that of the replacement I've got. So I'm thinking, despite having spent £9.99 on this part, that I might stick with the uglier repaired job. So something I hadn't considered changing till I saw this replacement part on eBay, and they don't come up very often, but you know, given the amount of wear on this, it's 50-50. I'm sort of tempted to use it, but at the same time, the bit that's really put me off is just that thin slither on the left hand side that looks to be a bit worn. So having thought about it for 10 minutes, I think I'm going to stick with the ugly epoxy repaired one. It has done good mileage with me so far and isn't looking any more worn than when I first purchased the bike, so it's clearly doing its job. So I'm going to stick with that one, even though it looks but ugly. Time to torque this up to 88 Newton meters, and hopefully, I think of course to do with this suspended from the ceiling. So I'm just going to tighten it up from the right hand side of the bike first, and then we're going to try not to torque it off the ceiling, which would be embarrassing. Snap. I'm hoping it's tight enough now so as not to rotate. That will make my life... No, it's rotating. That'd be too easy, wouldn't it? So we discovered the torque wrench doesn't work anymore. God, that feels tight. Blimey. That feels quite tightly pinched up. I'm going to stop there for a second and just check. It's quite cold, and I don't know if that's going to affect the torque settings. So I'm going to knock the torque wrench right down to, let's start at 70 and see if we've at least achieved that. Tell us if we get anywhere close. Maybe I should start even lower and make sure the torque wrench is capable of making noises. God, that just seems excessively tight. I think I need to check my settings, make sure everything's alright. Okay, we're up to 66 Newton meters. Right, I'm just going to do a quick conversion at 66 Newton meters, see if we're within spec. Right, the specs for the swing arm are between 5.5 and 7 kilogram force meters, which is an odd expression. So the 66 Newton meters that I've talked it up to, and I don't want to go any higher than that, equates to 6.73 kilogram force meters. So that is as tight as I actually want to go. So I'm not going to go any further than that. It sits just below the maximum kgfm. Okay, I ended up not filming it because it was a hell of a battle. I've refitted one side of the rear shock. The top mount, not an issue, but the bottom mount, I had quite a time getting the bolt to line up through the rubber bung at the bottom, the rubber bushing, and to be able to line up with the thread. So it's taken probably a good half hour of wiggling and the use of screwdrivers. It took me a while to learn the technique, basically. I think over time this cup here has become a little bit compressed where people have over tightened it. Something I should have checked before powder coating. So it's made the amount of available movement a little bit tight. But hopefully the next side will be a bit easier, and that will be the lesson I will take on and check on the other side. And so all the screw holes seem to have been plugged prior to powder coating, and all the bearing surfaces seem to have been kept free of powder coating, although they have been shot blasted. So its attention to detail has been very good, actually, as far as I can tell. Now that's that slid on there. I'm just going to check the camera angle. Okay, right. You can sort of see. It's a bit tight working at the back here. Now the hard bit has always been getting this to slide into this gap at the back here. There's a spot of grease in there to help it slide. Again, it's another grease fest today. Whole bike's going to need a proper clean out before we even get the thing started. Okay. Yeah, there we go, the grease made a big difference. Okay, I'm going to use a screwdriver to jiggle the shock roughly into position so I can get the bolt in there. Check with the torch. Okay, that's not bad. Well, the proof is in the pudding. It's not quite right because the screw won't quite go in there, but there we go. Screwed in there. What are the chances this lines up perfectly? This was the bit I had the battle with on when I was assembling the other side, is trying to get the screw to line up. But the lessons learnt from that, ooh, you know what, I think it might be in first time. What are the chances? So there we go. It's I think it's a learning curve. The first side, which took probably an hour, has allowed me to do the second side in just a few minutes. So that is brilliant. This is not the right washer for the job. It's the one that originally came off here with the spring washer, but it is way too big. It's definitely something someone's fitted after the moment, and so I need to find something that is in between. I've got some small washers, but they're not quite big enough, so I am going to have a rummage around and see if I can find an in-between solution for that, as it looks crap and I'm not happy with it. And I have now fitted the rear wheel tensioning adjuster nuts. They went in nice and smoothly. That's been about the easiest job of the evening, to be honest. It's now time to fit the sprocket back onto the wheel in preparation for hanging the wheel back on the bike. I'm not going to hang the wheel on the bike whilst it's in the air though, because there's too much weight really for the rafters to support. So I'm going to wait until the forks go back in and we're in a position to hang the front wheel, and we can get that sorted and get the bike back on the ground. Although I have to say it's really handy having it hanging at head height in the air. It gives you a great space to work in. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plated. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the wheel with the sprocket fitted back on, so that can now be kept aside until it's ready to go back on the bike.